Hi everybody, Petro here with a quick and dirty one-take review brought to you by the unholy power of Windows Movie Maker. I thought I'd talk about a new show from this season, and that show is Fate Zero. It's been getting a pretty bad rap on the review circuit so far, and I feel like a lot of people aren't giving it a fair shake, so I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents in. Fate Zero is the prequel to Fate Stay Night, a well-known anime adapted from a series of light novels. The basic plot is that mages summon legendary heroes from throughout time and space to fight for them in a tournament known as the Holy Grail War, also that their one true wish can be granted by the Grail. Now, if you think that sounds like a bog standard shonen series, well, you're sort of right, but Fate Zero is actually a lot deeper than it would first appear. Zero's predecessor, Fate Stay Night, was infamous for being adapted from an Arage game, and it showed pretty badly. The show's stuffed shirt protagonist, Shiro Emiya, was, for my money, one of the most loathsomely useless people in anime, and was just the centerpiece of a train wreck of a show. There were loads of non sequitur plots, unexplained characters, comedy bits, and harem elements that really had no place in what would have otherwise been a thoroughly enjoyable urban fantasy. Fortunately, Gan Urobuchi of Madoka Magica fame does a much better job setting a clear and consistent tone for Fate Zero, and boy, let me tell you, that tone is dark. Fate Zero takes the standard shonen formula to a scary place with its main character Kitsurugi, showing us just what kind of people would be willing to fight in the Holy Grail War and what they'd be capable of. The supporting cast gets a lot more screen time too, exploring their backgrounds, motivations, and reservations about the war. It's a welcome move that gets you a lot more invested in the characters when they do finally come to blows. The flip side of this is that there's a lot of exposition, and when I say exposition, I mean these characters love to talk. They talk and talk and talk and talk, and Jesus, was that just a 40-minute pilot of nothing but talking? I mean, I understand why it's necessary. The Nasuverse is a big place with a lot of stuff to explain, but it's executed in such an artless way that it detracts from the show as a whole. To its credit, it gets most of this out of the way early, but it doesn't really make it excusable. On the technical end, things look pretty good too, which is a relief. If you could boil the Fate series' past problems down to 3 words, they would probably be Studio Dean. For those of you not in the know, Dean is one of the oldest studios around, and while they do some good work, they also do some incredibly half-assed work. They're especially notorious for cutting corners wherever they can, leading to a lot of bad framework, off-model characters, cheap animation tricks, and the like. Fortunately, Fate Zero is in the capable hands of Ufotable, a greener studio that seems willing to invest more time and effort into their projects. The results have been phenomenal, with a mix of hand-drawn and CGI animation that looks absolutely beautiful. Here's some of Dean's best work, the Unlimited Blades Work OVA, next to Fate Zero. See if you can spot these subtle differences in these two fights between Archer and Berserker. 'There are noticeable dips in quality when the action stops, and the show definitely looks a lot less kinetic at times, but the art quality is maintained steadily and it's never really enough to kill immersion. I did think they occasionally went overboard with CGI too, but that's just a pet peeve of mine. On all things considered, they did a pretty good job with it. Finally, to complement the animation, this show has some beautiful music. Yuki Kajiuri, who's kind of like the anime equivalent of Hans Zimmer, I guess, did most of the scoring, and the results are really quite interesting. A lot of the music is so subtle you don't even know it's there, but when the scene calls for it, the score really rises to the occasion. Take a listen.
勝ったぞキレイ。この戦い我々の勝利だ。
In summary, Fate Zero is a highly enjoyable, if somewhat slow, seinen series. It addresses most of the flaws of its predecessors and manages to avoid most of the new potholes on its road. This is a project with a legion of talent and bags of money behind it, and I firmly believe it has nowhere to go but up. I could talk to you about this all day, but really there's only one word to describe this show.
静かに映る